Hello there. Welcome to our 8th and final episode of this season of Trust Radius Reviews After Dark. I'm your host, Angel, and have some special guests with me here today. Our own Anderson Duncan, who's an account manager, and his customer, Max Messina, who is a representative from our customer, Zscaler. Instead of focusing on reviews that didn't quite make the cut, we're going to focus on all the right ways to use the reviews that do make the cut and how to drive demand with them. Max will be sharing his unique vantage point and how he uses Trust Radius intent signals. With that being said, I'd like to turn it over to Anderson.
Awesome. Thank you, Angel. Appreciate you. My name is Anderson. I am an account manager here at Trust Radius, now HG Insights. Max, I'll let you intro yourself.
Thanks for having me. Max Messina. I am the senior demand gen manager over at Zscaler, and I have been responsible for our platform solution, our branch cloud solution, and I'm really excited that you guys had me on. How we got started with Trust Radius was really looking at your intent signals. Over at Zscaler, we are a big user of 6 Sense. So we push Trust Radius's intent signals through to 6 Sense, and then we build audiences in 6 Sense and get highly surgical with the audiences that we are targeting with specific messages and contents and campaigns. And then when we started working together, we were really interested in your intent leads program. So we've seen a lot of success partnering with you all in those two kind of areas.
On the topic of the broader intent signals, can you give us kind of an example or two of how you're segmenting out Trust Radius intent data and the signals that you're capturing to drive pipeline?
At scale, we use the Trust Radius intent data and we marry it with other data, and that helps us get the very specific account audiences internally. The other route in which we think about intent signals and where Trust Radius is like really unique is when we think about the experience of our potential customers or customers going to Trust Radius. A lot of the time we see like director level plus, like champions and executives going to Trust Radius. Those are the trends that we kind of see in the data to compare us to other solutions in the market. We let intent data from you all because we feel like it's a really strong signal. We use that in our competitive takeouts and our competitive campaigns that we run, whether it's on our side or with you all on the Trust Radius side.
Is there a key to success or advice that you would give any marketers looking to turn intent signals into results?
When we think about intent signals and we think about audience, we actually try to start a little bit more niche. Like we really try to like bring in our intent signals and get really specific with them. And then we launch campaigns and then we see like how are there new kind of creative ways or new ways we can work with Trust Radius on the intent side or our other intent providers and expand those intent signals to then expand our audiences. But we want to start with a really small segment first and get really cued in on the right intent signals. And then we kind of expand from there. We've seen a lot of success. It allows us to kind of have this pilot of sorts and really learn from it. And then we start to test how we could expand the signals and expand the audience.
Speaking of the competitive takeout campaigns that we've run, what's your approach and how have Trust Radius insights in terms of the intent signals supported that approach with the takeout campaigns that we've gotten to run together?
We really use the Trust Radius intent signals to cue in onto that account audience that's comparing us or showing intent around two very specific competitors of ours. And we really don't like calling out that competitive situation in our messaging. So we work really hard to put together solid educational content at the end of the day that not only positions us well, but also really calls out in an educational way the differences between us and those competitors. And then using Trust Radius intent signals, we could get in front of the right accounts and get that campaign or that content or that offer, whatever it is, in front of the right accounts. Where it's been really fun working with Trust Radius is getting that content in front of those accounts on Trust Radius's site.
Y'all jumped in with both feet on the intent-driven leads program to try to find those in-market buyers. I'd love to hear personally what your experience has been like and how you would describe the quality of the program in general.
The way in which you bring solutions to the table has really helped us like grow that trust together. So just like that side of our partnership has really been great. In terms of like the quality of the specific intent lead program, immediate results were a majority of the leads were at accounts within our ICP. And these were really small account audiences that we were giving you all. Just off the bat, like early indicators, these were individual leads at the right accounts. And we gave you some really tight parameters there. That really went a long way with our leadership team when I was presenting this program to them. And a lot of those leads were director level plus. They were like executives that are actually going to make the decision. We were able to track a very good like efficiency or return on the program just from an overall like pipe gen perspective.
That's awesome. One of the things that I think of immediately when I think of Zscaler's leads programs is the nurture aspect and how well Zscaler nurtures the leads that we send over. I'm curious to know, is there anything that the team has done from your perspective to better enable the sales team for that nurture process?
It's good that you brought this up because when we first launched this program, you all helped us build a one-pager to hand off to our SDRs. And as a demand gen manager, we work really closely with our SDRs. We're always trying to improve that connection and that relationship there. And so when we first launched this program, we kind of gave them like a one-page sheet of like, this is what's going on. This is how these leads are getting to Trust Radius. This is how they're getting into our system. And these are like the integrated messages that we would like you to build into your outreach and your nurture to these leads. And we kind of have like a skip the line. You know, we've put a lot of work into this program and we really want to give it a chance. So like, let's have a close eye on the leads and the nurture. And then the SDRs take the leads and we had a really custom outreach sequence that was like 12 plus steps. We'd like to integrate a lot of the other value that you provide. And that value is like taking out the actual quotes that you all have helped us get from customers. We'd like to pull in those quotes and build those into our outreach sequences and also give them to our SDRs to use in other ways as they nurture these leads. So we're always thinking about ways to continue to leverage Trust Radius and really grow and use the different value that you provide.
Yeah, I really think that one of the things that makes Zscaler successful around nurture specifically is the willingness to tweak and to constantly make changes as things go along. And that's ultimately what's driving those results. So syndicating more of the quotes and things of that nature will be really great, especially given that we just did 4 times the annual review number that we were shooting for at Zenith Live, your annual user conference. We did that in 3 days by being on site. For those that don't know, Zenith Live is Zscaler's large annual conference. We drove 170 reviews, over 17,000 words of authentic customer voice that can all be syndicated and used in those nurture programs. It also qualifies you for awards that we give out. So what other ways do you see Zscaler being able to leverage the voice of the customer and syndicate some of this content?
I'm still blown away by the results that we pulled at Zenith Live. Just the pure quantity is impressive. And we heard back from our events team, just the buzz around the Trust Radius booth at our event and just the positive talk that was happening between customers. It was great. When we think about further using the quotes and the content that we get from the reviews is getting closer with the SDRs and building those into outreach sequences. Also, we're looking at ways to use those quotes in marketing collateral. And then also that provides us with a lot of data or a lot of new content that we could build out like larger assets. And our teams are actually in the process of using those quotes and using the data that was collected to build out some really cool new assets that we're going to leverage here in our new year. So
Max, I really appreciate you taking the time to join today and walk us through how we're utilizing the content, the intent signals, ultimately the leads. It's been super helpful and hopefully will help other people who have a chance to watch the video today. With that being said, I will pass it back over to Angel to close us out.
Thank you, Max, and thank you, Anderson, for sharing your valuable insights today. To our audience, although this is my last episode of Reviews After Dark, do not fret. We'll be back in a big way in the fall. The link to all 8 episodes from this season are in the comments section, and get excited for what's to come. See you guys next time.